welcome to this presentation. It's the third presentation out of 4, and this specific presentation is about supplements, nutrition, and what we can do at home to help our children also focus, how to help with their sleeping patterns, how to help with the gut-brain axis and what it is. So let's delve into it without further ado. Okay, so nutrition is important because it helps us to fuel. It also gives us chemically the balances, and we can balance our hormones, our neurotransmitters through amino acids and through vitamins and through minerals. And we just need to know where to let go a little bit, when to give them what and when to keep away what from them. Now, the popular idea is not to give your child sugar, because sugar is going to make them all go out of hand. And the first thing is, I want to say, yes, sugar makes kids a little bit hyperactive. If you give them too much sugar, they get the sugar high, and it's kind of like a drug. However, sugar is not the problem with ADHD. It's the imbalance in the brain between the dopamine and the norepinephrine that's the problem. It's not going to make them less or more hyperactive more than any other child. It's going to give them their boost of energy, and then they're going to dip and they're going to have very tired and probably a meltdown because the energy went up and it just fell down if they got a lot of sugar in. And then also we get a lot of sugar through fruits, which is good for them to eat. They need to eat natural sugars. They need to get some fruits in for themselves to be healthy. So if I go through this, I want to say there's much more that we can do on nutrition and that we can read up on nutrition. And I will keep on sending you information. I will resend, but on the WhatsApp group, I have also sent brain foods, some ideas on brain foods that you can incorporate. But what I want to do is I want to encourage you to actually go in and make a hobby out of when you're packing lunch or when you're making food or when you're telling them, even if they're older, what they would rather need to eat, to keep the plate that they're eating as colorful as possible. As long as they keep it as colorful, and now I'm not talking sweetie colorful or ice cream colorful, I'm talking now veggies and everything that you can think of, to make it as colorful as possible. And if you go with that in mind, you already have won more than half of your battle with food. Lots of veggies, of green leafy vegetables, tomatoes, or carrots, or something that's bright in color is really, really good for them. So the first thing I want to say is keep color in mind, because color is really important. Okay. So I have pre-recorded this. So I'm going to play you the recording. And once we're done with it, then I'm going to just add a little bit on, and you can also ask me questions. Okay. Oh, play this. I think this is one of the biggest questions that we've got, is to know what can we do to help our children with ADHD from home. Yes, we know that they struggle with attention, and yes, we sometimes have our hands in our hair, absolutely, because we just cannot get their focus onto what they need to do. So for us, after we have now delve into the brain, and we know that there's a dopamine and norepinephrine mismatch, and how can we boost that, and how can we help our children? So let's start with, what is the gut-brain axis? Have you ever heard of it, and why is it so important to know about this for ADHD? Now, in our bodies, we have our organ, our brain organ, but then we have what they call the secondary brain, which is the gut. And at the gut, there is microbiota inside the gut. And it's basically a microbiome that we have that influence everything else in our body. So the gut-brain axis is a bi-directional communication system between the gut and the brain. It influences various aspects of health. It also includes the vagus nerve. It's very important for ADHD as it plays a role in regulating the mood, behavior, cognitive function, and potentially impacting the ADHD symptoms. I'm saying potentially, but that's a 99.8% potentially impacting ADHD symptoms. It influences mobility, secretion, nutrition delivery, and the microbial balance throughout the body. And with that, we need to understand that we are made out of cells. And even our hormones that we've got, our moods that we've got, our thoughts that we have, it is all a chemical balance or imbalance. So this gut-brain axis influence neurotransmitters. It's got influence on stress and anxiety. It's got stress on mood and behavior. So it literally influences the very thoughts that we've got. So it's very important to know what the gut-brain axis is and how we as mothers also influence it towards our children. So improving the gut-brain axis can be achieved through a balanced diet, rich in fiber, probiotics and prebiotics, as well as managing stress levels and getting regular exercise. Now, if we look at homeopathic remedies, that's beneficial. That is now something you can go buy at pharmacies that sell homeopathic remedies. The first one you can look at, and I want to say for both your child and yourself, Califos, which is potassium phosphate. It's little white pills which you can just put underneath your tongue. And this provides the brain with nourishment that needs to relax, recover, and strengthen. So in order for us, if we go through a stressful time, anybody can do with Califos. It's something that I regularly just have in my house. Because if you go through a very stressful time, Califos is the one thing you can grab to recover and strengthen and help you to relax. Why do we need that? We need that for recovery from a prolonged fight or flight system stimulation. We need that for a prolonged stimulation of anxiety in our brains. When we don't have enough dopamine, depression, Califos can help relax all of that with potassium phosphate. Then you get ferrum phos, which is the iron phosphate, and this is used to strengthen blood cells, which can carry the stress due to systematic inflammation because of constant anxiety and stress. So the other one, also a little white pill that you just put under your tongue, and it helps just to balance the chemical balance for yourself. Now, you've heard me talk about ashwagandha before. My son also uses ashwagandha, which helps him sleep, so it also helps him to focus better during the day. So it's used for the treatment of inflammation, immune system strengthening, stress reduction, improving mental concentration, and also providing nourishment to the brain. But be very careful. It can be used for 12 years and up, as it's not tested on children. I know that in a book, which I will talk about a little bit later in this presentation, they do use it for small children. But please just, if you want to use ashwagandha, just run it by your medical or health practitioner first before you use it. Ashwagandha you can use in gummy. You can get these days in gummies. You do get kids gummies in the US that I know. Therefore, with ashwagandha, you can get it in gummies. You can get it in teas. You can get it as a pill. It's very widely available. But I would like to strengthen that for younger than 12 years, I would use caution with this. Then colostrum. Colostrum is something that I think we all know. It is the first drops that you get from mother's milk. But the reason why colostrum is good for us, it helps to restore gut health. Now, when you sit with a lot of stress and anxiety, our gut lining is only 1 cell thick, which is extremely thin. And when there is a problem with the gut lining and our gut health, then we can get something that's called leaky gut. And when we get leaky gut, you get ADHD-like symptoms because you cannot really focus. You've got foggy brain, you struggle to remember things. That can all be because of leaky gut and not really because of ADHD. So it is important to strengthen that wall and to make sure that the gut health is good. Colostrum helps with that. Then the other one, L-glutamine, and this is just a handful. There's quite a bit that we can go through, and we also use that for person-to-person analysis. We don't use everything at once, but these are of the most commonly used supplements, homeopathic remedies that you find out there. So L-glutamine is also one of them. And for leaky gut, you can allow harmful substances to enter the bloodstream, potentially triggering inflammation and affecting your brain function. You take L-glutamine to reduce the risk of this issue. So for more homeopathic treatment ideas for specifically ADHD, you can look at the National Center for Homeopathy.org, but I will also send this for you in a presentation so you can get those addresses and you can read up about it yourself as well. There's quite a few that you can use. So I wanted to mention this first to tell you there's also homeopathic treatments available to treat ADHD if we start looking at supplementation and nourishment and medication and what you can do. So homeopathy, very, very nice to use. Okay, so now this is just some ideas of foods to focus on when we need to make their foods. It's always good to do some planning up ahead. To plan your meal plans for the week help you to make sure that your child get all the nourishment that they need to stimulate their brain and to have a healthy gut-brain axis, as well as to get cell turnover and renew cells. And all of that is necessary for them to keep concentration as well. Now, salmon is a very good idea. Versatile, we can use it in quite a few things, but to have a nice salmon bowl, salmon and spinach, salmon and rice bowl, you can use that up to 3 times a week. And the only thing about salmon that I want to stress is if you buy your salmon, to make sure that it is not salmon that comes from a salmon farm, but it's wild caught salmon, because that makes a difference in the type of hormones that you also take in through the salmon. A wild caught salmon is your most beneficial salmon, and you can also get it high in omega-3s that support the brain health and improve cognitive function and helps with reducing ADHD symptoms. Together with your salmon, you can cook some quinoa. Quinoa, better than actually potatoes or white rice. It's a complex carbohydrate for stabilizing energy. High quality protein, also quinoa for neurotransmitter support. It's got a rich content in nutrients, gluten-free in nature, blood sugar regulation, and versatility in kid-friendly meals. So you can see quinoa is something you can use for lunch boxes. You can use it for lunches or dinners. You can use it in salads. You can use it together with your fish or your chicken. Yep. So quinoa is very, very nice to use also for ADHD. Then garlic, I love doing garlic. The reason why I love garlic is because it's antiviral and antibacterial, and it's an immune booster. Now, once you put those 3 together, you help with the gut health, and that is very important also for your gut-brain axis. Berries, your antioxidants. Now, what is antioxidants? Antioxidants is our fighters that keeps us healthy and help us to not get inflammation in the body and fight viruses and bacteria that come into our bodies. So blueberries, strawberries, berries, I want to say blackberries, red berries. It is amazing to use. They're always high in antioxidant, and they also improve cognitive function. Then we get to proteins. Now, proteins, how much protein do we need to eat? We actually, if we look at chicken and turkey, your portion size is the size of your palm. So your child's portion size is going to be the portion, how big their palm is. It doesn't need to be bigger than that. However, lean protein do regulate neurotransmitters, and that we know is our dopamine and our norepinephrine, so that we do want regulation into that in the brain. So chicken, turkey, but also if you're vegetarian, lentils provide the amino acids for the neurotransmitters. Very important to include lean protein into the diet. Then leafy greens. Any leafy greens. It can be your salad, it can be your spinach, it can be kale. Any leafy greens, just make sure, especially with spinach and kale, they use these days a lot of pesticides. So you need to wash those leaves well before you give it to your child, because the pesticides on the leaves also give them heavy metal toxicity, and that can, again, on the other side, encourage ADHD symptoms. So the leafy greens need to be really washed well, but otherwise fantastic in cognitive function if you can get a good bunch. Now, how much leafy greens do they need? They need about, for a grown-up, you need between 4 and 6, more to the 6 cups a day. And that's why it's easier to actually give it in a smoothie. I'm very fond of making smoothies with that, putting some apples and berries in it, and then let them drink that, and you can get the most in through a smoothie. However, I know that Barakat has got a nice green juice that they are making. If I can't get to making it, then that is my second option, is I buy some Barakat. It is expensive, so I prefer to make my own, but also try and get your organic vegetables. 2 things that we can easily pack in for school lunches that really helps them is cucumbers, number 1. Cucumbers support ADHD due to the hydrating properties, fiber content, and vitamin K, which may also contribute to overall well-being and cognitive function. But I also find that if they eat some cucumbers at lunch, that slump that you can get after lunch, it helps them to focus much better. So eating a cucumber just before a test, for instance, also really good because it helps improving focus. Bananas also give you that potassium that helps you to relax as well, but also support ADHD by providing a natural source of dietary fiber. You get good vitamins and minerals in that contribute to stable energy levels. And if your energy levels are stable, your cognitive levels are stable as well. And it helps with overall cognitive health. Supplements for improved cognitive function. Now, these are the supplements we can give to them at home. I am especially fond of the omega-3, zinc, DMAE, and then at the last one, bignogenol. But let's go through all of them. Now, your omega-3 is also the same that you're going to get into your salmon. Fish oils really help with your heart, with your body, with your gut and brain access, with your gut health, with your immunity health. Omega-3s, it should be stable. Now, you can get quite a few omega-3s made. That doesn't mean anything, because the one thing about omega-3s is if it is shipped and in a lot of heat, especially this time of the year in Dubai, if you order it from iHerb or something and it comes to your door, that packet is so hot and it loses some of its very, very good properties by the heat. So it's better to actually order it later. And I want to specifically show you this Nordic Naturals that you get over here. Nordic Naturals is the best omega-3s that you can actually give to your child. It has been tested to not have the toxic heavy metals in that you can get in some other omega-3s. So I want to specifically give you that name. It's a little bit more expensive, but you can get some in drops. You can get some in gel-like capsules. So there is options for the children on how to swallow it. But Nordic Naturals, that's a very good one. And yes, you can get that through iHerb. Vitamin D, I like the Life Extension group. You can see which I put over here. So life extension overall is a good make. But good research in, and they produce good vitamins and minerals. So the research demonstrated that vitamin D supplement improved cognitive function in the conceptual level, inattention, opposition, hyperactivity, and impulsivity domains. And that's exactly what we need for ADHD treatment. However, we know here in Dubai, with the heat and everything, and the fact that we are inside all the time, we do not get enough vitamin D from the sun. So we do need to supplement, all of us, some vitamin D supplements. Then for zinc regulates neurotransmitter dopamine, and it also makes methylphenidate more effective by improving the brain's response to dopamine. Zinc is also something that is going to boost your immunity, and every school-going child needs to actually take a little bit of extra zinc just to protect them from the viruses as well. But this zinc caps is really good for both neurotransmitter dopamine booster as well as immunity booster. Then you get DMAE. Now, DMAE has been shown by research to help the brain chemicals such as acetylcholine that's necessary for mental sharpness to come out. Okay, so that boosts your acetylcholine. DMAE supplementation causes a noticeable boost in the ability to concentrate. Very, very useful for ADHD. DMAE users also routinely report a better memory, especially the shorter memory, as well as improved focus, mental clarity, and sleeping patterns. So all of which may be particularly valuable for those who work in high pressure or deadline-oriented environments, as well as students under pressure. For vitamin B, the whole vitamin B group, I want to say, is good to take. However, if you can particularly boost your child with vitamin B6, this can help to irritability and fatigue in children if you have a deficiency, as well as in adults with ADHD. So to boost your vitamin B6 levels can increase alertness and decrease anxiety-like symptoms. Now, for any person in a high-stress job, this is vitamin B6. I also want to say pantothenic acid, vitamin B5, can also help with that. But your anxiety-like symptoms, definitely vitamin B6, you can boost on that one. Then amino acids. Now, which amino acids? You can see that we were talking about amino acids to boost our dopamine, to help with neurotransmitters and everything. Now, what is an amino acid? Now, the L-tyrosine is an amino acid that is synthesized within the body to form phenylalanine. Now, phenylalanine is important for the production of the body's proteins and the production of neurotransmitters, which are linked to ADHD. So your epinephrine, dopamine, and norepinephrine. So L-tyrosine, you can get into a pill form, and the Yarrow formulas is also a good make. I do trust their supplements that they are making. So you can see it supports the synthesis of brain neurotransmitters. So L-tyrosine is the one that you can look out for over there. And then last but not least, pycnogenol. It's an extract from the bark, so it's a natural product from the French maritime pine tree. This antioxidant is about 7 times stronger than vitamin C, and it's a stabilizer of all body chemistry, including hormones. So for teenagers, it works really well. It also helps with cognitive function. It helps with sleeping patterns. It helps with blood sugar stabilizers, and helps with protecting your arteries. This arterial protect one, you get one that's only pycnogenol on its own, but this arterial protect one is also the pycnogenol plus your gotocola, and together it gives you the right energy and the right focus for ADHD. So that's also, all of these is available on your iHerb app, which delivers at home. Now, interesting food plates for ideas. Me and my daughter is really fond of the one restaurant in Dubai Hills Mall or Spring Circle called the Coffee Club. Now, Coffee Club especially do things that they call the salmon bowl or the keto bowl, or, you know, they've got all kinds of different bowls of food, and it's always so colorful. And I love eating there. I absolutely, if we go for a lunch or something, it's always Coffee Club above everything else. Now, you can see here is a salmon bowl that I had yesterday on Sunday, which got the salmon. It's got some teriyaki sauce on the jasmine rice. It had some mango. It's got some edamame. It's got avo, and then these cucumbers. It's a plateful, but it was so delicious. So that specifically is a fantastic combination for ADHD foods. Or you can have a keto bowl, which will have then chicken. I wouldn't go so much for cheeses, but if you add chicken and cucumber and a little bit of tomatoes, and you can make it up, and avo and olives, fantastic for your ADHD nourishment. It's a little bit of everything. Make sure there's enough clear green leafy vegetables on your plate. That's very important. You can see most of these plates has got your green. You see that one has only got cucumber. So I would add some green leafy vegetables to that on the top left. But all the others has got your green vegetables. For breakfast, always a good idea to have some eggs, some avo, some mushrooms. So make sure the plate is colorful. I love the Mediterranean diets. They're a good start. They're always a little bit of everything. And then also, if you look at the keto diet, it's a good guideline. However, for kids, I would also get some complex carbohydrates, which makes it non-keto. I would add that, but it's a good guideline. However, also cut out too much animal fats, more olive oil or coconut oil, or, your good vegetable oils. Include lots of berries for breakfast and eggs, but your acai berry is a very good cognitive function booster. Together, as I said earlier, all your other berries, blueberry, blackberry, strawberries, fantastic to also put that in. And I want to add there, if you go, for instance, to the organic cafe and you get some of that cocoa spreads, that you get your hazelnut and cocoa spreads, if your child's now not allergic to nuts, the hazelnut and cocoa spreads at the organic cafe does not contain so much sugar. So you can literally pack in some cocoa spread, like chocolate spread for them, together with your strawberries, which they can dip in that for lunch at school, and it will be wonderful. That's if your school will allow you to send hazelnuts in. Usually that's not such a big problem. It's more your peanuts that they have a problem with, but just make sure at the teacher, if you can send some organic, they call it Nutella, but the Nutella has got too much sugar in. All right. Then oats. Oats is a good sugar stabilizer. It's good for them for breakfast. You can throw some berries and some almonds in. And the other one is pecan nuts. Pecan nuts is also really, really good for brain function. You can also know that it's shaped in the size of a brain. You can see it. So that is also cognitive function. Very nice. So take some nuts, handful of nuts, handful of berries, nice oats in the morning for stabilized sugar. Then I would like to just mention this book. Now, I am still busy going through it, but there is so many ideas that you can go and read up upon. Jennifer Kozek is a mom that started dealing with her child that had so many disorders been diagnosed, and she went through the whole medical process to help, and she didn't really see a big improvement in her child as he got older. So she changed, and she looked into sunlight, the way we sleep, what we eat, how we play, how we talk, how the sounds around us going, which type of therapies is out there. Things like chiropractic treatment can also be beneficial. I will get to movement next week with us, But this book has got a whole bunch of knowledge in on how we can go about, and many of the information that I'm giving through to you comes from this book, tried and tested by this mom, and she has won numerous awards with her book because of all the good ideas that she is giving to help parents with non-neurotypical children. This book, you can order it from Amazon, so you can just have a look out for it. And I would really suggest to all of you to just have a look into getting a book, Healing Without Hurting. Right, so I'm going to stop my recording over here, and we're going to go over to some questions and answers. Okay, right. Okay, can I get some feedback on the presentation?
I think it was very comprehensive with good examples and tips on when you get the medications, because I never thought about if you order it online with the heat and stuff, that it actually makes sense that it does destroy some of the elements in the capsules and stuff. So thanks for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I see also if Amazon comes and they deliver a packet, they leave it just lying in front of your door in the sun, and it can be lying there for a few hours, and then many of the good properties can get destroyed in the heat. So you just need to be mindful of that. And then the other thing is not always all the companies has the same standard of producing their or getting their materials at a specific place. So that's why I gave you specific names that you can look out for, that might be able to help you. Okay. Yeah, because you think you're going to walk into a pharmacy and you're going to grab an omega-3 and it's going to do what it needs to do. But that omega-3 is, it might be synthetic or the other thing is, if you extract omega-3 from, say, for instance, salmon, but the salmon was in a salmon fish farm, the salmon itself actually has then a high percentage of adrenaline and stress hormones because it wasn't wild salmon. And together with the good of the omega-3s, your child's going to get those stress hormones in as well. So it's the same with milk. The problem with milk and cows these days is there's so much extra estrogen given to the cows so that they can produce more milk that we get too much estrogen in, which is totally a mood changer for us, and it can also lead in the end to certain illnesses, even like breast cancer or ovarian cancer, or even something like that. If you're taking a lot of milk that you don't know where it comes from. So we have to be really very careful of exactly what it is that we let into our body these days. Now, I want to stress on that if you're going to go now and stress for everything you're going to give your child, and you're not going to make the year. Literally, you're going to get so scared of what am I giving? I just want you to be mindful when you choose what you spend your money on, that you just buy something that is actually going to be beneficial. But someone that's really good with information about that is a lady from Happy Healthy Families called Ilse Onderwegs. And I really hang onto her lips if she starts talking nutrition, because she's a functional nutritionist. She's also a functional medicine practitioner, and she is a blood analyst. So she's all three. She's also a biokineticist. So she's the whole package in one, which is to think holistic with exercise and nutrition and everything. And she knows actually quite well. So I did phone her this week to say, give me the name of the exact omega-3s that you will give to your clients. And that was the ones that I gave through to you. So now what the supplements and everything, I'm not saying with this presentation you should give all the supplements to your child. They're going to hate you forever if they have to drink that amount of pills all the time. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you find that your child has got some attention span problems, it might be a good idea to give them some omega-3s just to up the levels. If they have anxiety, it will be a good idea to look into ashwagandha on pycnogenol just to bring the anxiety down a little bit. So there's different things that you will use for different options. Zinc and vitamin D, I would suggest that you do a test to see if your child is deficient in that at all before you supplement, and you supplement too much of it. But zinc overall, as I said, for every school-going child, it's a good idea to have some zinc, just to help them for the immunity. And as it is, zinc also helps with neurotransmitters as well. So that's a good idea. But if you get to what to eat for them, keep it colorful, keep it playful, then they eat easier. Actually, smaller portions helps also, because they don't always want to eat a big plate of food. But if you make it a little bit smaller, say for instance, you're going to give them a few pieces of chicken, or you can make chicken tenders and then 2 or 3 red tomatoes and a little bit of a cucumber and a little bit of avo, but make it like a nice and colorful plate. Then they eat it easier and they get those nutrients in easier, and it's healthy food. And then I want to say, Mom, for the odd time, if they want a McDonald's burger, don't feel guilty if you go buy the McDonald's burger. You can start feeling guilty if you buy it every week. But if you buy it every now and then for a treat, okay, you're not going to make everything that you're doing undone with one McDonald's burger. I'm just saying, don't buy a McDonald's burger as a rule. Just as a treat every 6-8 weeks. That won't be such a big problem. Okay. Any other questions? I think that's quite a. I think the fact that I mentioned homeopathic plus food plus supplements, it's quite a lot to take in. That's why I kept it to a little bit information per group. The Colifos homeopathic that I mentioned at the beginning is specifically if they have anxiety. That's something that helps to keep in the house. And if you see that the anxiety is starting to build up, just to give them 2 or 3 tablets to keep under their tongue, and you can use it 5 or 6 times during the day, just to bring that level of anxiety down. That is something they also feel that they can do something about their anxiety. It won't hurt them at all if you use that. Ashwagandha, on the other hand, I give ashwagandha to both my children. I have for a while. But then on the other hand, I'm the type of mom that gives honey to a baby because I feel it's natural and antiviral and antibiotic. So there is people that oppose to that because of some percentage that can go wrong. The reason why they don't give ashwagandha for children under 12 is because of the strength of it. It can be very strong, but it's relaxing. So it's a supplement that has an effect on stress, sleeping patterns. It has a visual effect that you know about. And Zander actually is, he tells me that the ashwagandha calms him down more than what his Concerta medication does. It makes him focus more than what Concerta does. So he uses both during exams. He used Concerta on school days and ashwagandha right through. But I want to say, if you're going to take ashwagandha, say for instance, ashwagandha tea or something like that, just don't make the strength that much. Just be mindful. But I have not encountered any bad side effects. The only reason why they caution you against it is because it has never been tested on children, and it will never be tested on children, because no parent will say, okay, here's a supplement, please test it on my child and let's see what happens. It will never happen. It's the same than testing homeopathic or medicines on pregnant women. Nobody wants to lose the baby, so they're not going to do a medical test, and they will never test it. So it's not necessarily that it's unsafe, it's untested. That's what I want to say. Okay, if you understand. But the working of it is really good, and just make the dosage less or half. Be mindful that their body composition is less, their weight is less, so they're not going to take a whole adult's dosage, but they might take half of it. Okay. Miriam, your child is 23, right? Miriam, can you hear me? I think she stepped out. But the thing is, if they go to high school and if they go to university, the projects and the stress and all of that becomes more. And you will find that the anxiety builds up together with that, which is especially why I have put in the ashwagandha, the pycnogenols, and the Califos and the homeopathic in this presentation, so that you know there is something that you can go over the counter and buy and sit and just. It does not work like medication immediately. It builds up after a while. So homeopathic treatments, you typically need to use it about 2 to 3 weeks before you start seeing the difference that much. However, if you in a stressful anxiety situation, go to your child and you say, just put this underneath your tongue. I must tell you, the mental idea that they're doing it, it's like giving M&Ms or Smarties for a headache for somebody that's going to believe it's going to work for them. It will work because the mental capacity is there that this is going to help me. Okay, and you won't do harm, and you will just lift some levels up. Okay, now I am also reading a book at the moment about the subconscious and the conscious levels in our brains, and I want to come back to what I've just said about the M&Ms, and also Lais, on how you're going to give the news to your child. If we can get the subconscious to believe this is a good thing, and and that is we're going to do through our conscious levels, because our conscious level, our conscious mind, is the precursor towards our subconscious. Our subconscious is, if you're looking at a ship, let's say a warship that is on the ocean, and they need to shoot towards a target. You get the captain that's standing on the deck, and he is giving instructions towards the people working in the engine and the artillery at the bottom of the ship. Now, the people at the bottom of the ship don't see anything. They work just on the instructions that they hear from the captain. And that's how they fight, and they are driving the ship forward because of the instruction of the captain, because he's the only one that can see. Now, it's the same with the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind works directly on the instruction of your conscious mind. So if you're going to give your conscious mind an instruction that this is a good idea, then your subconscious mind is going to lift the spirit and is going to work together with that. It's a good idea. But if your subconscious mind get the idea that there is a conflict of interest here, and you're not sure if it's going to work or something, then that's where you lose self-confidence, because you don't believe in yourself. Do you understand, Lais? Do you get it? Yeah. So you have to build up on the belief system that, yes, I am good enough. Yes, I'm eating something. And in the end, our body has got the ability to actually heal itself completely if we believe it can. And that goes together with prayer, meditation, any religion that we can pull into that. If we pray and we believe what we pray, then miracles happen. That's how religion works. Now, it's got to go with what you pray with your mouth and what you believe with your mind. What you pray with your conscious and what you believe with your subconscious is the one that can work miracles. So that is the same. Your body will come into alignment and it can heal itself if you believe it. That's why an M&M sweetie can heal a headache if you believe it will. You think there's something in there, and it will heal headache. Okay. Right. Yes, I just want to show you the book. Okay, it's difficult to see. Maybe I should just do this. Healing Without Hurting. It's really a good read. It's a good book to always have on hand. In here, they have got explanations on therapies, medicines, food, aromatherapy, sleeping patterns, anything that you can really would like to just quickly have a look. Is it good? Is it bad? Can you help it out? Is in this book. So it is really, if you want to read up a little bit more, it's not just ADHD. It is ADHD, apraxia, autism, dyslexia, all of that combined, and what we as a mother can actually do to go from how do I care for my child. And the book is written from that point of view as well. For ourselves, it's a good reference to have. So the kids don't come with a handbook, but here is something that can be a handbook for us as well. Okay. All right. Okay. Any more questions?
Super.
Any more questions before we log off?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, no questions. It's a super clarifying. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Annie Mary. It was very informative, actually.
Thank you, Miriam. I really appreciate that. And it was very nice seeing all three of you tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time to logging on and listening to me. It makes it so worth it to know that you are out there and you would like to know more. So next week, I'm going to work on movement and which type of sports is good for our children, which type of movement is going to also stimulate brain activity, and how we're going to help and how we're going to work out so that the brain, the movement together with the attention is going to help the attention to become better. Okay, so we're going to work on that next week. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Thank you.
Wonderful evening for you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, ladies. Bye.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.